morning, yogis. So we're gonna, this is a little yoga Pilates fusion class. So we're gonna do some Pilates and some things that are more like a yoga, a little flowy, relatively gentle vinyasa kind of yoga. So we're gonna start lying down. Now, I am gonna do just what's called constructive rest position, which is lie down on my back, get my chin level, get the pelvis level, and I'm gonna leave my legs mostly kind of in a stable place. But if you had a night where it felt like you were sort of curled up, you could, instead of laying down just on the floor, you could put something under your back to kind of broaden out the shoulders and open up the chest. So that's another, I've done that some weeks, and sometimes I just like to do a more simple opening. So if you've got a couple of yoga blocks or rolled up blanket or something like that, you want to put that underneath your upper back, you're welcome to do that. We're going to just take a position that feels like we can get a sort of sense of opening and relaxation, at least in the shoulders. So to do that, I'm going to sort of tuck my shoulder blades just a little bit underneath me. Let the arms find their sort of natural home so that it feels like if I get my arm bone in the right place, that's just kind of where it wants to land. And then, so the chin will sometimes want to tuck or lift, so I'm going to adjust everything so that my chin is level. And again, so you just check in with the pelvis and make sure that the pelvis feels level. It's not tilting up or down. And then for me, this is the best way to position the legs so that the knees just stay kind of balanced over the ankles. But for some people, slightly wider in the knee and allowing the knees to knock in is better. Okay, so find your way there. And then I always like to start with just a moment to be still and to breathe. Try to breathe as deeply as you can for most of your breaths. And then every now and then, every fourth or so breath, give yourself a little bit of restriction around the navel and really expand the rib cage out. Try to get some of the little muscles that live in between the ribs to open up and move as well. We're going to do 3 more nice big breaths. If you have something under your back, you're going to go ahead and take that stuff out from underneath you and stretch out your whole body. So I'm going to have to move a little bit. So once you're back on your back, just give yourself a full fingertips to toe tip stretch. And then we're going to do this little banana shape. So we're going to curl the upper body over to one side and then swing the legs over as well. So one side of our body is feeling like it's stretching out longer and one side feels like it's curled in. Now you can adjust the arms anywhere from all the way down to overhead with one hand resting on the other, or if you need just to like somewhere in between a bent elbow position, that's fine. Now the leg that's on the outside of the curve could cross over the leg that's on the inside of the curve at the ankle for a little bit of a lift, and then as your hip falls, there might be a little bit more stretch along your IT band. So we're just going to hold this position for about 8 breaths or so. Just notice how the breath has changed, like with one side stretching out and one side curling in. There might be slightly different sensitivity in certain areas when the breath touches. Take one more big breath. And then with the exhale, just come on back to the center. And this is the part that I think is really interesting. If you stretch out or even just relax, does it feel like one side is now slightly different than the other? And often for me, it'll feel like that side that was on the long edge is now a little longer. It feels like that leg's slightly longer than the other. And all that's happened is I've just released whatever tension lives in that tissue. I really haven't stretched longer, probably. If I measured, it would not be the same. Or not be different. So we're going to just do the other side while we're here. So I usually give it a couple breaths in the center and then come over this way just so the spine has a chance to adapt. Ugh. And then once I've decided whether I'm going to hook the leg over, grab a wrist, or whatever, you just find that set point. And then let yourself get heavy into the floor. So I haven't rolled onto my side at all. I'm still laying on my back. And now as I breathe, this side has become a little more sensitive. This side has become a little more easy to breathe. The lung expands a little bit better. I'm just noticing those little differences. More breath here. And just meander on back to the center. See if it's mostly the same. It feels pretty good to me. So then I'm going to do these little windshield wipers with my legs just to release any tension from my sacrum. You can also pull your knees into your chest if that's better for you, kind of rock back and forth over the sacrum. All right. So we're going to take the arm bone all the way down to the ground, okay? Now you can do a fist, you can lay your arm out, you can put your palm down. We're just going to press that upper arm down into the floor on either side. I've got a little kind of furniture in my way, but I'm just going to sneak my way underneath it. And then holding the shoulder girdle nice and steady, I'm going to bring the legs up so that the knees float about over the top rim of my pelvis or belly button area. So letting the legs come over to one side, I'm going to make a decision. Now, I don't have a lot of room in my space here. So I'm going to keep my knees together and curl both in towards my armpit. If you have more space, you can stretch one leg out or both legs out to create the resistance. Okay, we're going to try to keep that left shoulder, though, on the floor. Coming back to the center, you can pick the knees up toward the chest just to get that little extra work. Come over to the side, curl in. Come back to that top rim of the pelvis line, curl in, back to that line, over to the side, curl in, back to the line, to the center, to the left. Okay, so that's what the legs are going to do. You're going to try to hold that upper body firmly into the floor. And we'll just go back and forth, trying to hold steady. One more round. When you're even, come back to the center and we'll pause there. All right, so grab hold of your right leg, give that a little hug in if you can. Stretch that left leg all the way out, let it rest. So holding onto that right leg, give your foot a spin. And then spin the other direction. And then we're going to point and flex. Just feel if there's any little spots in your ankle joint that need a little bit more attention. Go ahead and loosen those places up. And then we're going to press the heel away. Now you might have to let go of the leg, okay? So we're going to press the heel away. And see how straight it wants to go. Bend the knee, give it a little hug. Press the heel away. See how straight it wants to go. Bend the knee, give it a little hug. We're going to do that one more time. Stretch that out. Oh. Bend the knee, give it a little hug. Excellent. So release your leg. Now the intention here is to keep the body stable. So I'm going to take the leg that's on the ground, turn it, internally rotate it enough that my toes point straight up, and then I'm going to kind of dig my heel, contract a little bit through the hip and the top of the thigh so that my knee is slightly bent, and I'm really anchoring this leg to the floor. Then I'm going to hug the sides of the waist in, so I'm anchoring a little bit there. I'm going to put the arms in a position that feels relatively reasonable, and then I'm going to anchor the upper back and upper arms to the floor. Okay, so all that work is happening, and then my leg is going to go across my body and sweep a circle out, and I'm going to try to maintain all of this stability while the leg moves around in a circle. Okay, so keeping all that action. Try to keep your leg to the degree possible. Move it in that circle. Now, when we get to the top, you're going to pause there, and then we're going to switch the angle. So we're going to take the leg out to the side first, bring it to the base, and come straight up the center. Again, trying to hold all of this action nice and steady. Out to the side, and up the middle. And if you have a smaller range of motion, because either your space is small or your hip doesn't move that much, just work with the range of motion you got. All right, bend your knee, put that foot down, and then we're going to pause there for just a moment, bring the other leg to it, and then see if you can feel a difference in the way this hip settles into the ground versus this hip. Does this side of the waist feel any different than that side? Give yourself a little windshield wipers. And we're going to take hold of this left leg and let the right leg stretch out and rest for a moment. Holding onto the left, we'll give that foot some circles. Go the other direction. Back and forth. Okay, just check in with any little parts of your ankle joint that might need a little attention. Give those a little wiggle. And then we're going to do those hamstring moves. Again, be kind to yourself. If you can't hold on to the leg, just let go. So we're going to see if we can extend the leg. It might not extend all the way straight. Bend the knee, give it a hug. And then press the heel away from you. See if the leg will go a little straighter. Bend the knee. Give it a little hug. It feels good. And then we're going to do it one more time, giving us that little stretch there. And then bend your knee, give it a little hug. Okay, so now we're going to turn this whole side on. So I'm going to rotate this right leg a little bit so the toes point up. I'm going to dig in, so I've got a little bit of hip work, a little bit of quad work. Got that leg nice and steady. I'm hugging in through the sides of the waist, upper back and arms resting and pressing down into the floor. And then I'm going to extend that left leg so it goes across. It makes a circle, however big my circle can go around the plant. I might even have to bend my knee for this guy. But all of this other work is still here, okay? So I'm hugging in through the sides of my waist. I'm anchoring this leg. I'm anchoring my shoulders and upper back. So one more circle. All right, so then we're gonna come back. We're going out to the side, bring it around and up, out to the side, around and up. So this is acting against resistance, and I'm still trying to hug in the sides of my waist, anchor through this leg. It's so easy for all of this to start to fall apart. Okay. One more time, you're gonna go out, bring the leg to the center, come straight up the middle. Excellent. And then bring both legs together, feet resting on the floor. I think I must have slid way down this mat. But in any case, just notice that there's a difference. There might be. And maybe things have settled a little more evenly. All right, so we're going to leave the feet resting on the floor. I'm going to back up here just a little bit. And then with the feet resting on the floor, we're going to practice using our abdominal muscles to move the body. So this is going to be the rectus abdominis largely, which is the muscle straight down the center. All the other muscles mostly act as stabilizers or side bend and twist movements. So for this movement, we're just going to go straight up the center. And you might call this a crunch, but we're going to try to focus on keeping the head and neck really stable. So leaving the feet in this position, we're going to press the head into our hands and our hands into our head so that we don't pull on the neck to try to come up. We're going to try to keep the neck nice and stable. And then as you exhale, we're going to curl the shoulder blades however high they'll come up off the floor. Inhale and come down, okay? Exhale, curl up. Inhale, come down. Keep your head pressing into your hands. Curl up. And coming down. Curl up. And down. Now we're going to do it for a count of 3. So we're going to curl up. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. Coming down. Good. Curl up. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Keep that head stable. 2, 1. And come down. Curl up. 3, 2, 1. Press your head into your hands. 3, 2, 1. Coming on down. Curl up. 3, 2, 1. Head in the hands. Hold it steady. 3, 2, 1. Coming on back down. So we're going to add on to, we're going to do just a few more rounds. We're going to try to do this for 5 now. So holding the head, pressing into the hands. We're going to curl up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming down. Take a big breath. Exhale, curl up. Keep your head stable. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming on back down. Big breath. Last round. Curling up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it steady. Press your head to your hands. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back down. Nice big breath. All right, so if we did it right, this should feel nice and warm in the center of the body, but there shouldn't be any feeling of like torquing or pulling on the neck. And this is like the most simple move. If you generally do things with your neck muscles, this will help build the strength and the sort of isolation that you need in order to keep the abdominal muscles doing more of the work than your head, okay, or than your neck. So we're going to put that to the test in the roll-up. So we're going to try to roll all the way up to a sitting position and roll all the way down. Now, if you are like me and this is a struggle and your neck or your hip flexors want to do more of the work, then we're going to stay with this movement as high as we can get off the floor, come back down, and then we'll add the back end movement to this. Now, if you can smoothly stretch out and roll all the way up from a seated, all the way up to a seated position. Well, see right there, I have to kind of thrust myself forward because I catch that point where my hip flexors go. But if you can smoothly roll that up and smoothly roll it down, it's easier for me to go the down way, then by all means do that. But again, some of us struggle and the hip flexors want to do the work or the neck wants to do the work, so we're going to try to keep this isolated. So we're going to get a big stretch. We're going to try to curl up just with those abs, not with the neck. Nice big stretch. Curl up as far as you can go. Even if it's like me and it's barely off the flipping floor, okay? Curl up. Come on back down. Curl up. Come on back down. Curl up. Come on back down. Now, if you are doing the roll up all the way to the top and come back, keep going. We're going to change tacks now. So we're going to come all the way up as far as we can go. Then we'll help ourselves up off that little curve. Once you get to the seated position, then we'll do the back end of this. We're going to stretch over, and then we're going to come down as far as you can go without losing control, and come back up. Sit up tall right here. Fold over the legs. Then come back, curl through the spine, and come down as far as you can go without losing control. Come back up, sit up tall, fold forward if you can. Curl the spine, roll back. Come back up, lift tall, fold forward. We're going to do it one more time. So we're all going to finish in a seated position. Rolling down, coming up, sit up tall, fold forward. Beautiful. Now, holding steady with that forward bend. I ate pizza yesterday and I'm feeling like, you can tell. Oh, a little extra. All right, now, what we're going to do is we're going to do some little boat pose moves. So we're going to start with a kind of simple boat pose, and then we'll kind of add on to it a little bit. So we're going to bring the knees up into the chest. And floating into that little space, you can keep holding on. And again, what we're going to try to do is establish this kind of feeling of lift and that everything is coming to the center line. So I'm hugging the sides of the waist in, keeping the breastbone lifted, and then allowing the hip flexors to do some of the work with this pose. Now we're going to add this extra bit of abdominals by bringing the knees in and letting them go. Bring them in. So we're holding steady, and the hip flexors are helping us do this work. 3, 2, 1. Now, we're going to take our boat pose, and we're going to add a little bit of a twist to it. So, I have my yoga mat sitting here drying, and it's unusual, and so it's become a topic of concern among the furry coworkers. They want to try to figure it out, but they're just making a mess. So I'm going to carry on, but it's really annoying. All right, and kind of adorable. So we're going to take the legs up, and then we're going to take one leg out straight. I'm going to turn towards the leg that's bent, come back to the center. Other leg out straight, turn towards the leg that's bent, back. Extend, 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 extend. Beautiful. Come on back to the center. Now we're going to go down to the lower position for the boat to do the 100. Oh, the 100 is intense, y'all. So we're going to lower all the way back down. We're going to try to hover this little boat up, and you can hover the legs in the air, or you can leave the feet down, resting. Now, hovering up, we're going to pump the arms, okay, for 100 rounds. Now, here's the issue. If, again, you're going to drag yourself forward with your neck, rather than anchor in through the abs, put one hand behind your head, press your head into your hand, curl through your abdominals, and then we're going to pump for half the rounds this way, and then we'll switch and pump for half the rounds that way, okay? So if you can extend your legs and lift them, fine. If you want to extend the legs and let them rest, also good. Or you can lift the legs and try to hover there, okay? So we're gonna do our best to do this without using our neck too much. Here we go. And 10, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's halfway. Switch arms. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, done. Whew. All right, so hopefully you chose a version of the 100 that works for you. Abdominals acting as stabilizers, trying to make the body do a little bit of jiggle. All right, yogis. Whew. That feels really good. All right, we're gonna roll like a ball. So we're gonna bring ourselves up. And then we're gonna roll back and forth. If you'd like, you can do the open leg rocker, or you can just roll and roll. Either one. So rolling back and coming up, and rolling back and coming up. And just try to make it as smooth as you can. Try to catch that little boat pose at the top. Ooh. 2 more. Last one. And then we're going to come up to all fours. Holy moly. Now once you get to all fours, just take a few moments to rinse out any tension from your back. We're going to take ourselves to downward dog. Now, if downward dog is not an appropriate pose, you can certainly stay with this all fours position. Once you get there, if you're going to do downward dog, then allow yourself a little bit of time to sort of play with it. So we're going to move the shoulders around. Try to kind of find a place that feels like a good shoulder connection. And move through the legs. So you can do bent knees and straighter legs, a little bit to one side and the other. There will come a point where you've had pretty good a time there in downward dog, at which point you can walk your hands and feet towards one another. Once you're standing on your feet, you can give yourself a moment to kind of shake out and rinse the wrists out. Okay. So before we get to some planks, I'm going to give these wrists a little bit of love. All right, so we're going to come all the way to standing. Give yourself a really big stretch when you get there. And then we're going to wind up standing at the top edge of a mat. So if you have a mat, if you're not using a mat, just stand at the top edge of your space, wherever you've got some room. Once you're here, we're going to take a moment just to find mountain pose. So I want my feet about hips distance apart. I'm going to mostly point the toes forward. And then I do this movement where I spread the feet out, like spread out my toes. Try to get as wide apart as I can so that I can begin to perceive the little arch that lives between my big toe and my little toe across the ball of the foot. And then the other 2 arches, if I can, I'm going to press my feet down into the floor in such a way that I start to feel those arches pick up. If this is something you've never tried to feel before, the arches in your feet, it might take a little bit of time before those connect to your brain, or your brain recognizes that idea. But take the effort, it's worth it. Now notice if you locked your knees out, see if you can give your knees a little bit of a softness and the hips a little sense of being soft enough that the pelvis just finds a natural tilt. We're going to try to keep just a little bit of core connection between the ribs and the hips. And rather than kind of forcefully draw the shoulders back and turn the arms out, I prefer to try to let myself extend through the back of my neck, the back of my skull, so that the shoulders kind of naturally find their way there. So if I've got this connected and that connected, generally they'll find their way onto my back. If that's not true for you, you're certainly welcome to add a little bit more of a turn out there. Okay, so now I'm not just standing here, I've got quite a lot of work going on to try to hold this shape. And I'm going to try to maintain this sense of kind of drawing towards the midline with myself as I lift up onto my tiptoes. Now you're welcome to swing your arms up. I've got plants here in my way. Not that that's stopped me before, but I'm going to go more like straight up the center onto the tiptoes and then come straight back down. Okay, so you can either sweep the arm or be a little bit more compact like I'm going to do. Okay, come on back down. So we're going to lift up onto the tiptoes and then come back down. Lift up onto the tiptoes, come back down. So I'm still trying to draw in here as I lift up. So I haven't lost my mountain pose, it's just become a little taller. Lift up. Beautiful, come on back down. Now we're going to try to sustain this. So we're going to lift and try to hold steady. So draw into those places in the mountain pose to create that steadiness for yourself. Keep your eyes steady. Hold it for a little bit longer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come on back down. All right, so we're going to take a nice big breath. Lift up, stretch, maybe add a little baby back bend to that. Exhale, fold forward. Pause there just long enough. Inhale, come up halfway. Pause there, feel yourself broaden out the chest. Exhale, fold. So we're going to step back into either down dog, or you can maintain this halfway position until we get the legs together, okay? So if you don't want to do the upside down version, you can just stay there. Okay. So from downward dog, I'm going to come into a plank, and you can maintain a full plank, or you can modify that plank by bringing the knees down. Now shift the pelvis a little bit forward, curl the tailbone in so you've got a nice ski slope from your shoulder to your knee, and then hold it steady for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With control, we're going to lower down to the ground, come into cobra. So inhale, press the legs into the floor, lengthen and come up. Exhale, come on back down. Lengthen through the legs. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come on back down. Lengthen through the legs, come up. And I'm not pushing with the arms, but I am broadening the chest. Come on back down. Now I'm going to push with my arms to come back up, and then back into down dog. Again, you can stay in all fours if you came this far. Take a nice big breath, lift your right leg up behind you. As you exhale, we're going to try to curl that knee in and round the back up. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, curl it in. Stretch back, sink into your heel. Beautiful, and then we're going to step this foot forward. Now, if I can't step it directly forward, I can go out to the side and then just swing it in. And that'll give me that little bit of extra. Now, bring the foot around so that your left heel is on the ground. We can come up for warrior 2. You're going to keep your pelvis organized with the legs. This leg pointing forward so that it feels like the knee is kind of angling towards the pinky toe a little bit. It's really just straight. This leg is turned so that I can put this foot all the way on the ground, and then I just let the hips follow. If I try to turn my hip all the way this way, the leg is going to collapse in. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to hold it steady, come back to reverse warrior, and over to side angle. Now this is the mermaid pose, the mermaid movement from Pilates inside of this pose. So I'm lengthening, stretching through my side, lengthening, stretching through my side. Okay? Holding steady with the legs adds that little extra dimension of work. Lengthen, lengthen. Okay. Lengthen. Lengthen. Good. We're going to do it twice more. 1 and 2. Now, we're going to straighten out this leg and come into triangle pose. You can put a block here if you like. We're going to lengthen the spine. And I haven't taken my arm up yet on purpose. So what I want to do first is get my center point nice and steady. You can hold onto your leg, you can float your hand or put your hand on a block. Those are all just choices. Then I'm going to take this arm and I'm going to swing it down, bring it up and around. Okay, swing it down, bring it up and around. Now you can follow it with your head or you can stare at your big toe if that makes you a little dizzy and just let the shoulder do the work. Okay, swing it up and around. Good. So I'm trying to get the arm bone as natural a movement pattern as possible so that it doesn't feel funky in the joint. All right, here we go. We're going to bend this knee and we're going to take ourselves into a balancing pose. So I'm going to balance on my right foot eventually once I get my left foot unstuck. All right, here we go. Take the left leg up. Maybe there's a block or a little something, a Tupperware container under your hand, and lift. Oh, see if you can pick yourself up a little higher without running into your furnishings. Nice big breath. Beautiful. Now we're going to take this left leg, we're going to curl it in, and then bring it right down beside the right foot. Come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Pause for a moment. And then we're going to come all the way up to standing. Give it a nice big stretch. And then find that mountain pose again. And feel. Now, once you've gotten yourself in that shape, is there a difference between your right side and your left side? Just trying to notice. And again, we're going to come up onto the tiptoes. So we're going to lift and come back down. We're going to do it 5 times holding the 5th one, okay? Lift, come on back down. Draw in a bit so you find that mountain as you come up. Come on back down. We got 2 more. Lift. Come on back down. This is our last one. So we're going to come up and hold it. Drop in. Good. Long spine. It might get wobbly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on down. Nice big breath. Stretch. Maybe a little back bend. Exhale. Fold forward. Ooh, that feels nice. Inhale up halfway. And again, you could skip everything that's going to happen right now until we get to warrior 2, or you can come back to down dog if you want to do that part. Okay. So, finding your dog. Oh, it feels good. Now, coming forward into a plank again. You can maintain a full plank. Don't sag. Lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lower all the way to the background, nice and steady and with control. And we're coming into cobras. Now, these cobras are done with the back muscles. So press the legs down and lift, see? So the hands are here to open the chest up. Come on back down, take them back a notch. Lift, good, open that chest. Come on back down. One more time, back with the arms, lift. Beautiful. Come on back down. Now we're going to take ourselves back up to our dog. And again, go through this little movement pattern. So right leg to the center. We're pretty close. Left leg up. Bring it in, curl up. Stretch it back. Bring it in and curl up. Stretch it back. Bring it in, curl up. And then either step it forward or step it to the diagonal and bring it forward. And then we'll come into our warrior 2. Ooh. Once I'm on the stickiness of this mat, it's hard to get off. All right, so get yourself proportioned. Okay. Now, I can turn my ribs so that I point more to the side. But then that limits my side waist movement. So I like to keep my torso balanced with my hips, okay? So I'm a little bit on a diagonal here, because then I have more reach with the reverse warrior side of this mermaid pose, okay? So coming back and over, stretch through the side waist. Coming back, stretch through the side waist and over. Reach. Over. 2 more. Reach. Oh, this feels so good. Over. Last one. Reach. Over. Okay. So we're going to come into our triangle pose. And again, first thing I'm going to do is just find my way in. Like, how much hamstring stretch do I like? I come up a little higher, a little bit less of that. Lengthen through your spine, which includes the back of your neck. And then we're going to let the arm drape and open it up and come around. I don't want to hyperextend my shoulder, right? I want to find the natural range of motion of my shoulder joint. Whether you move the head with it or keep your head stable, right? I can move with. I still want to find that natural inclination of where my shoulder wants to go. Last round. Beautiful. So now I'm going to try to launch myself into my half moon balance. Maybe a block would be helpful. Whee! A little wobblier this morning than normal, but that's not a big surprise. Nice big breath. Beautiful. Now again, we're going to bring this left knee in, or right knee rather, and put that right foot down beside the left one. Come up halfway. Exhale and fold. Give yourself a little rinse. Oh, we're going to come all the way to standing. Oh, I've got a little more room right here. And then come back. All right. So one more time, we're going to come back to our mountain pose. And once we get here, fiddling with the body a little so that we find that place where we're sort of suspended. Does it feel a little different to come in here versus what we did before? So one more time, we're going to do a balance. But this time, we're going to see if we can balance in a chair pose. So first we can bring the arms up if you like, and then sink into a chair that works so you can keep your arms up, or you can put your hands at your heart, which is my preference. So then we're going to take all the weight into the right leg, and we're going to take the left leg across. So we can go across at the shin, or you can come up to the thigh, and we're going to try to maintain the balance. Ooh, it's not easy some days. Taking a big breath, we're going to lift up, put the left leg down, we're going to immediately come back to that chair, pick the right leg up, put it up on top, and see if we can hold that balance on the other side. And sometimes one side's easier than the other. This is usually my side that's a little more challenging. I can definitely feel more work in my hip, but it's a little easier for me to balance today than usual, which is kind of fun. So just kind of noticing little aspects of the practice and not getting too attached to them. Just noticing and letting it go. One more breath. All right, so then we're going to come back right to the center, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Now we're going to come all the way to the belly. I'm going to do it through downward dog, but you can get there in whatever way is appropriate for you. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. For some people, this might be a better version of downward dog. Take a block, you can put it on the lower setting or the medium one. Your mat has to be pretty sticky for this to work, okay? So I'm going to do mine on the slightly lower setting. And I'm going to put my hands near the end and then come back into down dog. Now this mat is very sticky, so the blocks don't really go that far. They don't stretch very far forward. So it feels kind of nice. Now for some people, this slightly elevated dog takes some of the pressure out of the hamstrings. So just noticing if that's a more appropriate version for you. You can sub this in from time to time. So we're going to come forward into a plank. Now this part gets a little trickier, so I would just bring my knees down, flip the blocks out of the way, right, and then re-assume the plank. All right, so that's a way that you can work with that dog if you like. All right, so we're gonna come down to the belly. Again, with as much control as possible. We wanna try to use the core as best we can as a stabilizer. So we're gonna work this little movement with the legs. So the head turns to one side, and you can lace your fingers together behind your back, or you can place one palm inside the other. If you have tight shoulders, you can do just a resting position with the arms, okay? We're gonna bend the knees. They're gonna kick in towards us. 1, 2, 3. Then we're gonna extend, lift into the locust, long neck, come down on the other side and kick in. 1, 2, 3. Extend, draw to the midline. Come on down. 1, 2, 3. Notice how I'm turning my head each time. Lift, come down. 1, 2, 3. Lift, head comes to the center, turns to the other side. 1, 2, 3. Lift, and down. 2 more. 1, 2, 3. Lift, and down. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Lift, and down. Good. So we're gonna come back to the middle here, and we're gonna do a bit of a shoulder stretch. So I'm gonna take my right arm out to the side. Now I have my palm facing up. Sometimes that's my preference, most of the time. Every now and then it feels better to have the palm down. I usually bend the elbow a little bit as well, okay? Then we're gonna take the left leg and go up and over, so that we're gonna stretch into the front of the shoulder. So to make this just right, I'm gonna put a block right here under my head, and then I'm gonna work my shoulder into position. And then I can just rest here, or you can wrap this arm behind your back if you like. So we're just letting the front part of this shoulder stretch out. If it feels like it lands in your elbow, try a more bent elbow and see if that's a little bit better. If this is troublesome for any reason, you can extend the leg out instead of having the knee bent. Okay, we're gonna take 2 more breaths, nice and big. Okay, so we're gonna roll out of here, coming back where we came from. Give this shoulder a little love. Ooh. And we're gonna do the side work on this side. So I'm gonna take my right arm straight up, make it into a pillow, and then I'm gonna organize myself. So the reason I do with the neck this way, rather than prop up like this, is because there's often a lot of strain to the shoulder and the neck in this position. If this is your preferred way to do it, you do have to engage a little bit more deeply to hold yourself out of the shoulder. I just don't think it's worth it. Shoulders take enough of a hassle from us. So for me, this is better, and then just really concentrate on that core connection. But you do you. So I want my hips on top of my hips, or hip on top of hip, shoulder on top of shoulder. So I'm not twisting, I'm as close to level as I can get. This hand has 3 different positions. You can put it up front, that's the most supported. I like to rest mine usually on my hip or on my leg. So I have just a little bit more of a sense of when that is leaning in the wrong direction. And you can also put it either behind your head or straight up. So in this lifted position, it's not there to help you at all. And so you really have to establish more strength with your core. So if you're a little bit farther along this road and you need a bigger challenge, that might give you that little extra edge. Okay, so we're gonna take this top leg and lift it, and we're gonna take the leg and just kind of find a place that feels like it's pretty even in the hip socket. Not turn too far up, not turn too far down, just sort of a nice medium place. We're gonna swing this leg a little bit forward, and then we're gonna swing it behind us, and we're gonna try not to let the belly lean forward into this, okay? We're gonna try to maintain that nice stability. Going forward, maintain that stability, and backward. Hug in through the sides of your waist. Forward, and only go as far back as you can control. In my case, I'm gonna run into furniture, but we'll do our best. Okay. Forward, and back. Forward, and back. We're gonna do 2 more. Forward and back, forward and back. Now, bring your leg back to center. We're gonna bring the heels together. We're gonna put the heels behind us and then lift them up. So we're in place for the little clams. The knees are resting together, heels are resting together. We're gonna open just the knee part. And for some folks, if this outer hip is a little weak, it'll be really hard to extend this leg without hurting your knee. So if your knee is bothered by that, just hold it here rather than do this little extended leg kick, okay? And then bring it back. And kick is a little bit misleading. It's meant to be done relatively smooth and with control. So you open, you extend, bring the toes together, bring the knees together. Okay, just nice and smooth. Move through those movements. Again, we're maintaining the stability in the core by keeping a little bit of a draw in and trying to help stabilize the body that way. We got 1 more to go. Open, extend that leg out, come on back. Extend both legs out. We're gonna take that leg over the top of the stack. Give it a little bit of a stretch if you want to, or you can just leave it laying out. I like to do this so I get a little bit of a pigeon in there. Lift the bottom leg. We're gonna lift it up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold it steady for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make a circle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring that leg down. Now we're gonna straighten out the right leg, roll back onto the belly. We're gonna do the left arm shoulder stretch. Left arm reaches out. Again, you can do palm up or down. A little bend in the elbow is often helpful. Roll the right leg over so that you put the foot on the ground, put some support under your head if you like. And then we're just gonna pause here for this little stretch in this left shoulder. And usually I have to do a couple of little adjustments to make it just right. Nice deep breaths, yogis. Take 1 more breath, and then we're going to take that leg all the way back and around, unwind that shoulder, and then that one becomes the pillow. I'm going to turn around so I can see you guys. Let's look at me, the opportunity to get the sticky side of my mat out of my way. All right. So once you're resting, so that your head's resting on your left arm, and you've got a nice stable base, you're gonna lift that right leg up. And again, it's not too turned out, not too turned in, just kind of find a stable place in the center. Swing the leg forward and swing it back as far as it'll go, given the circumstances. Swing it forward and swing it back, and try to maintain that stability in the center. To go. For me, the one going behind is always the one that I really have to anchor into. All right, so we come back to the center. We're going to do the little clam. So you bring the feet behind you, knees are down, heels are up. Open, extend, come back, close. Okay, so again, this extension can just be a pause if your knee has any trouble with that extension, right? So if this part of the hip isn't doing the job it's supposed to stabilize your leg, your knee will take the brunt of that. And so work one day at a time. Good, we got 4 more to go. I think that's 4. It's possible that I miscounted. All right, we're gonna take the legs out, take the top leg over the stack, lift that bottom leg, we're gonna pulse it up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold steady, lift a little higher. 10, 9, 8. Dig in right there at the sideways. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now circling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Now, friends, we're going to roll onto our back. And we're going to take just a moment, just like we did at the beginning. So I'm going to go back to that constructive rest position that I was in at the beginning. You could also do a full Shavasana position. Let the body settle. And notice where you landed. Does the body feel different than it did at the beginning? Does it feel lighter? Warmer? Just notice how the overall sense that you get from being in your body today. Letting the body relax for a bit. Now, yogis, you can stay as long as you want because you're at your house. If you've got things to do, places to be, stuff like that, we're going to take a nice big breath. Let go with a big deep. Give yourself a stretch. Give yourself a hug and a back massage for the road. And then we'll come up and say goodbye to each other. So thanks for joining me this morning. Take a nice big breath and a big deep sigh. And namaste, yogis.